Like Jay-Z said, nobody wins when the family feuds. When you have a former Raven taking shots at him saying that receivers don't want to come play there because you're the quarterback, that's a problem.
I'd have to say that Lamar Jackson is typically one of the most calm, cool, and collected players in the entire NFL. And bear in mind, he's one of the most scrutinized quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Despite all this, he usually just deflects anything that is thrown his way. But it seems like someone was actually able to get a reaction out of him, and the back and forth between these two was just way too entertaining not to cover. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. If you want 1-minute shorts of this content, make sure you follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Like I was telling you guys in the introduction, Lamar Jackson has always been one of the most scrutinized players, even before he officially made his first NFL start. I mean, going all the way back to his pre-draft process, and bear in mind, this is an individual that won a Heisman Trophy like the #1 overall pick in his NFL draft, Baker Mayfield would, but despite that, he would still fall all the way down to the last pick of the first round in the 2018 NFL draft. In his rookie season, the offense that the Baltimore Ravens put around Lamar Jackson was a little interesting, primarily because I don't think it was their plan to start Lamar Jackson at any point in that season. But when Joe Flacco went down with an injury, the Ravens put in Lamar Jackson. They put in this really strange offense that was 100% run first. It was like essentially having a running back at the quarterback position. And I think that's because they just didn't plan for Lamar Jackson to be their full-time QB. But despite that, it resulted in wins. They won 6 out of their next 7 games. And that was enough for John Harbaugh to say, even when Joe Flacco was healthy, we're going to keep rolling with Lamar Jackson. And I think that's where we got the memes about Lamar Jackson, about he is a running back at the quarterback position. It's between that and a pre-draft analysis made by Bill Polian, who said that Lamar Jackson would be better off switching positions before he gets into the NFL. And since then, he's proven everyone wrong. I mean, the 2019 season was absolutely phenomenal. The man had one of the greatest regular seasons that we've ever seen in NFL history, and I think we may have been a little bit spoiled because during the 2018 season, we saw another one of the greatest regular seasons in NFL history by a player who was making his first full-time start, Patrick Mahomes. So in 2019, Lamar Jackson threw for 36 touchdowns, only had 6 interceptions, completed 66% of his passes, and had a QBR of 83. That's before we even get to the rushing, man. The rushing was even more impressive, adding 1,200 yards on the ground and 7 touchdowns for a 6.9 yards per carry average. Nice. Kinda. That was good enough for him to win NFL MVP, and since then, I guess you could say he hasn't been as dominant. I mean, the year after, he threw for 2,757 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, another 1,000 plus rushing season. And then last year, he did have a few games where he was injured. He threw for 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 2,882 passing yards, and also added 767 yards on the ground. The thing that's interesting about Lamar Jackson is his contract is also set to expire, and he really hasn't addressed it so far, citing that he wanted to stay focused on football. But another thing that was very interesting was the fact that Marquise Hollywood Brown, a player that we could all say was Lamar Jackson's top wide receiver throughout his duration in Baltimore, was silently demanding a trade during his time in Baltimore. Now, as a result of this, people think that the reason why is that Lamar Jackson's quarterback play doesn't result in tremendous wide receiver output. And there is kind of some truth to this because Lamar Jackson again adds like 1,000 yards rushing on the ground if he's fully healthy. But on top of that, you're playing in a Greg Roman offense, and Greg Roman's offense isn't predicated on home run touchdown passes. It places more of an emphasis on establishing the run. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, it seems like people are still getting on Lamar Jackson for his career so far. And it seems like for once, Lamar Jackson's class clapping back. So here's the thing. Ryan Clark tweeted out that people might say I am caping for Lamar Jackson, but to me, it's common sense. Any other QB with his impact, his success, his overall statistics would be worshipped. Yet we are discussing why he isn't in the top 10 QBs. The 3 other former MVPs are in the top 4. I guess I'm dumb though. So Bernard Pollard is one of the main protagonists in this story, and his response is actually what's going to draw the ire of Lamar Jackson. So if you don't know who Bernard Pollard is, let me just say he is a safety that I want to say was a fringe Pro Bowler throughout his whole career. I mean, he wasn't horrible, he wasn't bad, he wasn't average. I would say he was an above average safety throughout his time in the NFL. He was notorious for his ability to lay out big hits. He had a tremendous NFL career. He even won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it was a very impressive career for Bernard Pollard Jr. He's most notorious for his 2008 season with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he famously caused a torn ACL to Tom Brady after lunging for Tom Brady's legs, and as a result ended Tom Brady's season and generated millions and millions of dollars for Matt Castle. So that's all you really need to know about Bernard Pollard. That's his career in a nutshell. And his response to this was, it's a lot that can be said. He's definitely a top 10 talent, but as for a top 10 QB, I don't see it. I believe he should get paid by the Ravens and he should get paid top dollar. So it's really interesting because this isn't necessarily a horrible thing to say. I mean, I could see the argument of not ranking Lamar Jackson in the top 10 of QBs, and I don't necessarily even think it's an insult. I think it's more of a testament to just how versatile QBs have been. I do think he should be at the very minimum the 10th spot. I think the reference to this was the ESPN top 10 QBs, which has Aaron Rodgers at number 1, Patrick Mahomes at number 2, Josh Allen at number 3, Tom Brady at number 4, Joe Burrow at number 5, Matt Stafford at number 6, Justin Herbert at number 7, Russell Wilson at number 8. Now this is where I don't really agree. Deshaun Watson at number 9. Nothing against Deshaun, it's just I don't really know what to expect from him once he returns to the NFL. And we don't even know if he's going to play this year. We don't know how long he's going to play. We don't know how rusty he is, but Deshaun Watson at the top of his game. Don't get me wrong, top 10. I just feel like maybe it wouldn't have made a lot of sense to include him on this list, at least for this instance. And then you have Dak Prescott at number 10. So obviously this generated a lot of controversy because Kyler Murray isn't in there, Derek Carr isn't in there, and Lamar Jackson isn't in there. So I think this is what they're referring to. And we can debate this, man. I mean, you can make an argument for why Lamar Jackson should be in there, why he shouldn't be in there. But if we're being honest, last year wasn't necessarily the greatest season from Lamar Jackson. So I can understand why, in terms of hype, his stock is taking a little bit of a tumble. Now bear in mind, Bernard Pollard literally said that he should get paid by the Ravens and he should get paid top dollar. Now if I was Bernard Pollard, I would have just left it there, but that's not what Bernard ended up doing because there's another individual, Kayam Clark, that responded saying one thing here: if you play the game professionally, you're an athlete. That notion always gets me. When the Ravens decide to give him some good wide receivers instead of one tight end, his game would change because now his options change and he can still run. Bernard Pollard's response to this is what set Lamar Jackson off, saying no top receiver will ever come there while Lamar Jackson's there. Plenty of wide receivers have been available to get in the offseason while Lamar Jackson has been starting, but nobody wants to go. They give him the respect, but they don't want to play with him. LJ is good, but he's not able to make the throws. There's been instances where I've seen Lamar Jackson capable of connecting on deep throws, and then there's been instances where I've seen him not being able to complete such throws. I don't think it's necessarily the first throw he's looking for. I mean, if you're a wide receiver, you got to think of this from a business perspective. You want to play in a run-heavy offense on a contract year, because that's why Marquise Hollywood Brown ended up demanding a trade quietly. It's his contract year. He wants to go to a team that could consistently target him so he could boost his value and get the bag. You're not necessarily going to do that in a Greg Roman offense that features Lamar Jackson throwing for 3,000 passing yards in a good year and then rushing for the additional 1,200, which is phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but when you combine that with the fact that the Ravens are going to be very heavy on running, it just doesn't make sense for any wide receiver to go there. Lamar Jackson's response to this is, you've been capping since I've been playing for the Baltimore Ravens. I never heard of you, to be honest, my boy. You got your Super Bowl because of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed that year, which Bernard Pollard responded saying, facts are facts. Make sure you call me, champ. Good luck getting one. Now, Now, here's the funny thing. Obviously, everyone's going to take Lamar Jackson's side on this. And this is where things got really freaking funny, because people started tweeting out a video of Bernard Pollard missing a tackle on Michael Crabtree in the Super Bowl that he ended up becoming a champion in, which just shows you how undefeated the internet and Twitter truly is, which, by the way, make sure you follow me on Twitter. We're giving away jerseys to my latest followers, and we're probably going to start a fantasy football league with my Twitter followers. Now, Lamar Jackson responded to this saying, "Never, nobody speaks of you. I had to Google you, little bro. I never heard of you until I seen you keep dissing like you were a Hall of Famer, but you far from it, across the ocean like overseas." Bernard Pollard would fire back by saying that he has no interest in making it to the Hall of Fame, and then Lamar Jackson just unloaded on the guy, saying, "Take veteran out of your bio. You just played as an extra body, to be honest. Super Bowl with 2 tackles. Was those game-changing tackles? Waiting." To Bernard Pollard's credit, he tried to demonstrate how much of a force he was as a safety during his time. And as a guy that watched him when I was younger, I can make it a testament to this man's ability to tackle players. He would post this college highlight of him making an aggressive hit on a running back when he was in college, to which Lamar Jackson would respond saying, "Bruh, got a 6-second college highlight. You mad for real? I wish I played against you. I would have threw the ball to coach and ran straight at your sorry ass, Bernard," which Bernard would respond saying, "And I promise one clean hit and you would never be the same." Jackson would continue to rain on Bernard Pollard, saying that no commentators during that Super Bowl said Bernard Pollard with that key play, sorry boy. Bernard Pollard responded saying, "Turn on the film and I'll teach you how to read a defense," to which Lamar Jackson would actually quote tweet this and say, "The last person I would ever go for anything football related, lil bruh. Talk to me about the best NASCARs out. I'm all ears and eyes." To which Bernard would respond saying, "If you get to the Super Bowl, we will see what you do. Ask your coach about the extra body I was helping all game and playing with 6 broken ribs. I played through my injuries. Man up and throw from the pocket." To which Lamar quote tweeted this saying that, "I pray we make it there for real, little bruh, but I definitely don't want to hear nothing about your ribs being broke. Ray tore his tricep. They never mentioned you. You got it matter of fact. I gotta focus and worry about the current ops and not the former." Lamar Jackson would then say, "I respect my OGs who currently and also played back in the day, but you, not ever. I don't know what you think this is, and your side job was stripping. Twitter needs to take that blue check mark back." This is a reference to a dance he did on Hard Knocks, to which Lamar Jackson quote tweeted and said, "I hate I even said anything to you, lil bruh. If you were my son, I would have pootie tanged your ass for playing with me like this." And then Lamar Jackson would quote tweet the missed tackle that Bernard Pollard had on Michael Crabtree, saying, "We almost lost because of this. I watched this when I was a kid and was rooting for the Ravens that play. I wanted to slap the F out of 31, and it's you? Boy, Unc, come out of retirement, please." Hollywood Brown would come out in support of Lamar Jackson, where he would quote tweet a fan saying, "Add some context. Hollywood Brown wanted out, sure. The Ravens are a run-first offense. Y'all act like he wanted out because of Lamar Jackson. Don't try to create that false narrative." And Lamar Jackson never said anything of the sort and tagged Undisputed. Hollywood Brown quote tweeted this saying, "Facts, the narrative they're trying to create on my dog is ridiculous. He can run the show in any type of offense. He just so happened to be in the one he's in and doing it at the top level, and every wide receiver who ever played with him knows that." At this point, man, we just have to wait and see how Lamar Jackson's going to perform this season. At the end of the day, I feel like Lamar Jackson shouldn't have responded to Bernard Pollard. I didn't really see the upside in that, but clearly the things that people are saying about Lamar Jackson starting to affect him. Honestly, I hope Lamar Jackson succeeds. Watching him play football is absolutely electric. I feel like the way Bernard Pollard said what he did would have been worded a little bit better, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we're all talking about Bernard Pollard again, and it's not the 2010s, so I guess from that point of view, you could say this whole situation was a W for Bernard Pollard. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.